All right, next up we have Public Works Engineering Department Quarterly Report by Jason Farag.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. So this is a department report update for the Public Works Engineering Department. As you know, the Public Works and engineering departments divided into three kind of primary categories: capital improvement program, development engineering, and maintenance and operations. And so I'll be providing just a highlight of some key projects that we've been working on over the last few months, some maintenance activities, and some of the ongoing development projects in construction. So starting off with capital improvement projects, the Palomar widening project and the cemetery improvement project is progressing well. It's ongoing, still on schedule. We do anticipate completion still to happen by the end of this calendar year. Some of the recent work that's been completed, if you've been by, you've probably seen some of the new bus pads. These are some of our bus stops with the highest pedestrian usage. And so having a separate bus pad that takes the bus out of traffic is very valuable here for the community. New asphalt paving has gone in, curb and gutter. I'm sure much of the community has seen the wall construction that's been going on as well around the cemetery. Some of the upcoming work for this month includes curb, gutter, and paving on Gruwell Street. And I just want to make a note here that for those who have been by, you've probably noticed that the elevations at Gruwell at the intersection are a little bit different than the elevations coming in and out of the intersection. And so the intersection is being lowered to accommodate drainage. So because of that, the complexity of that construction, there will be some traffic control implemented over the coming weeks. We will work with our team to get notices out to the public in advance. But there will be some lane closures, some detours in place. And so we'll make sure to get that information once it's finalized. The contractor is still working through those details. But you can expect that to come soon in the next several weeks here. Traffic signal pole installation will begin as well. And then we'll continue with the on-site cemetery improvements. Moving on to the Lateral C Basin and Storm Drain project. This is a Riverside County flood control project. They finally completed the culvert construction along Monte Vista that connects down to the Caltrans culvert. And so they've been able to reopen Monte Vista to traffic. They've reopened Summer Sage Way to traffic as well. The work is not complete. So obviously what you see there and what you see in the field is temporary paving. There's still final paving to be done, final curb and gutter. There will be street improvements installed from Bundy Canyon down to the end of the basin. South of the basin, the developer KB Homes will be completing street improvements through this section. So there will be a little bit of overlap. But what you see out there is not the final product. They're continuing to do a lot of on-site work and exporting material out of that basin and sending that to different places. And so their current schedule anticipates completion in November. This isn't a schedule that we control. So this is just the best information we have right now. It's possible, depending on weather and other factors, that they could extend that schedule. And so we'll continue to keep the council and community updated on that project. The next project is the Marno O'Brien Park Rubberized Play Surface. So we awarded the contract last month. We issued a notice to proceed. We actually have a construction meeting on site tomorrow for the project, and the project is still on schedule. We expect it to be complete by the end of September. Projects that are going out to bid. So these were all projects that are in construction, projects that are going out to bid. And if it's not out to bid this evening, it'll be out to bid tomorrow, is our traffic signal upgrades and our Harvest Way traffic signal project. So these are two highway safety projects that we have received grant funds for. One will install a new three-way traffic signal at Bundy Canyon and Harvest Way. And then the other project will install protected left turn phases at Orange and Bundy Canyon, and also some advanced dilemma zone detection at Grand and Corridon to better anticipate incoming traffic. And so that will be going out to bid as one package. We'll look to award a contract at the October council meeting and get those two projects under construction. Moving into the design phase, we have several projects in design. Our pavement management program is ongoing. In June, the consultant completed the field survey for all of our streets. So that's one of the vans that was out surveying all of our streets and mapping out existing conditions. The consultant's now going through the budgetary analysis, also going through a dirt road analysis to inventory our dirt roads and to provide just preliminary high-level costs on what it would take to improve dirt roads to various levels of improvement. We anticipate this project to be complete in November. We will be bringing forward the pavement management program to the council with a presentation for final adoption. And then that will become our new guidebook for helping to prioritize roads to be on the schedule for rehab. Moving on to our road rehab program, we've mentioned we've been working on a pavement rehab for Bundy Canyon Road. That project is at 90%, approximately 90% design, going from Mission Trail all the way east to the city limits at Sunset. Our goal is to advertise that project by the end of September to, again, rehab that pavement. With that rehab will be restriping of the entire roadway as well. And so we're looking to get that out soon here. Our two park projects, the 20-acre park and the 27-acre park. So the 20-acre park, the initial opening, we did receive the 90% design package from the consultant. So this is just as a reminder, the initial opening provides access to the public for the park, includes a new bridge, a pedestrian bridge over the channel, a parking lot at Palomar Street, and some site security fencing. And so we're anticipating advertising that in October of this year. One item we wanted to note, and this was a item that Mayor Pro Tem Marquez had requested as a future agenda item, was collaboration with the Native Plant Network. And so after they came forward to the council meeting, I think back in April, to share a little bit about their organization, our staff did reach out to them and have had a couple of meetings with them, including an on-site meeting to discuss collaboration opportunities for them to participate in parts of the park, for example, areas like the community garden or the butterfly garden. And so we are continuing those conversations as the design of the park progresses. The 27-acre park, we've been continuing to work on. The 27-acre park, as you know, we received federal funding for through a grant. What the federal funding does introduce is federal environmental requirements. And so we have been working with our environmental consultant and with our designer on those regulatory permits, both the state regulatory permits, but also meeting the federal environmental requirements. And so we've been going through that process, and I know we haven't heard too much about the 27-acre park recently, but that's what's been happening in the background. And that process needs to get completed so that we can then get out to construction. So we're continuing to work on that. The design is at 100%. And so we're finalizing the design while we work on the environmental permits. And then our two big projects that are also still in design are Clinton Keith widening and the Bundy Canyon widening. And so both of those projects are at the 100% design phase. But what we're also working on is finalizing some right-of-way acquisition, finalizing utility coordination, and finalizing our environmental permits. So for Clinton Keith, we're still waiting, or we're still processing the environmental permits from different regulatory agencies. So one thing I want to point out on both of these projects, and the same applies to all of our capital projects, is we do our best when we start a project to give an estimated schedule of when we think we'll be done with design, when we think we'll be ready for construction, when we think construction will be done. And we realize sometimes these schedules move. We've reported earlier schedules before, and here we're providing an updated schedule. And so we do the best we can to give an accurate estimation at the time. But some of the aspects of these projects involve other agencies, other organizations, and so not entirely within the city's control, and they don't always go according to plan. And so oftentimes the schedules do have to adjust based on those impacts. And so we have provided updated schedules here. These, I do believe, are reasonable and realistic schedules for both of these projects to be out to construction. They are very, very near the finish line, but there are just final hurdles of utility coordination and right-of-way that we're continuing to work through on these projects. Moving past design, for projects that are in the project development phase. So we've been working with RCTC, with Caltrans on the two interchanges, Bundy Canyon Road and Wildomar Trail. We've started the initial process of a multi-year process that could be anywhere from 7 to 10 to 15, 20 years to upgrade these interchanges to bring them up to the condition needed to serve both the existing need but the ultimate build-out needs of the city. So we've been making good progress with on these two projects, developing conceptual designs that will eventually, in the next year or two, move forward into a formal environmental analysis phase with Caltrans. And so we will be presenting an update to the City Council either later this year or early next year on these projects, and we'll have the consultant come and provide an update to the council of the progress and where things are at. We're still very early in the process, but working with Caltrans through that. The other item related to the interchanges that I just wanted to note is the Wildomar Trail I-15 interchange restriping. So we know that this has been a concern for the community. I was out there yesterday during coffee with the city, and I saw the backup all the way to Cervera, and so we understand that this is an issue. Just a little bit of history as to what we've been doing and what we will be continuing to do. So the city approached Caltrans with a request to restripe the interchange to accommodate a dedicated right turn lane to get onto the southbound freeway. The reason we had to approach Caltrans is because this is in Caltrans right-of-way. So even though it's our local street, it crosses over their freeway right-of-way, and so we have to get approval and permits from them. So we went through a few design iterations with them. We had to demonstrate how trucks could still fit with all of these new lanes. Unfortunately, about a little over a month ago, they informed us that the restriping by itself was not sufficient and that it couldn't be approved in that way. And so what that means is we have to widen the pavement at the interchange to accommodate this additional lane that we want to put in. And so our consultant is working on preparing the design plans for that widening. We'll be submitting it to Caltrans this month and then looking to get their comments or their approval just to provide a realistic schedule of what this looks like. Because we are working with another agency, they very likely may have comments. They'll give those back to us. We'll make revisions, give it back to them, hopefully get approval. Then we have to go out to bid, get a contractor on board, then build it, and then complete it. So that could be a 6 to 8 month process, and that's just the reality of the timing. And so we just want to be upfront about that, but we are continuing to push this forward as best we can. Next, we want to just move into a few updates on maintenance and operations. And so, as you know, beginning on July 1st, the city officially began its own in-house maintenance operations. Since incorporation, PV Maintenance had served the city, and they served the city well, and it's much appreciated. But we're also excited to start our own maintenance services. And so just want to highlight some of the key items that our project team has completed, led by our field supervisor, Dustin Wyatt. Just in the last couple of months, they've implemented striping changes throughout various locations in the city, worked at restriping some areas in front of the schools in advance of the school year. They completed the installation of all of the city welcome signs at the main entry points into the city. The crew actually completed the grading on Lost Road. In the past, we had always subcontracted that out. So this was an opportunity for our team to do that themselves. And then we've installed new stop signs at various different intersections throughout the city. They've handled a variety of different road repair issues throughout the city, a number of different sinkholes that have popped up, roadside erosion, and tackled those as quickly as possible as they've come in. And they've been working as well on weed abatement at different locations throughout the city. Here's just a photo of Wildomar Trail weed abatement and weed abatement on Grand Avenue. And so just in terms of upcoming planned maintenance, they are going to be continuing to work on catch basin maintenance through in anticipation of the rainy season. We have upwards of 300 storm drain catch basins throughout the city that have to be cleaned out. They've already been working on that. They're going to continue. We will continue tree trimming, especially for safety and site visibility, site distance, visibility of traffic signs. We are regularly replacing and upgrading our regulatory signs to make sure that they're reflective, visible at night, and then patching our regular pothole work and then asphalt patching throughout the city. And last category of update is our development engineering development projects. And so just wanted to touch on a few major projects that are in construction. The first is the Camellia Townhome project. This is in construction on the south side of Palomar by the city of Murrieta city limits. As we've mentioned before, they're going to be realigning Palomar to connect to Jefferson. And so this is going to be a major infrastructure project. Right now, they're still in the grading phase. They're planning to start storm drain improvements soon. And so we will, as we get more details about their upcoming schedule, impacts to traffic control and traffic, we'll make sure to get those updates out to the community. They're currently estimating models to be ready by mid-2026. So it just gives you an idea of the overall schedule. This is a multi-year development project. The Bell Ranch Apartments in the Sedco community, if you've been by the area, you've probably seen that they've been actively working on off-site improvements. They have a lot of off-site water and sewer improvements that have to be put in. We've been working with them, with the water district, coordinating those improvements. This community will see a lot of construction over the next several months and over actually the next couple of years with the EVMWD's septic to sewer project as well. And so just for the community to be aware as they go through this area that there will be ongoing construction for a period of time. And the last development project is the Bundy Canyon Plaza project. Now, we don't have a schedule on the actual opening of the Starbucks and the McDonald's, but they've completed the traffic signal improvement, so residents can now make a left into the plaza and a left out at Sellers Road. And so with that, just a reminder for the community, for project updates, you can visit our website, click on the project development updates link. It'll take you to a second page that has two links, one for development projects, one for capital improvement projects. This is just a screenshot of the development map. You can click on any development project and get a little pop-up window with updates and project details. And then similarly, our CIP page will give you updates on CIP construction. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Joseph.
You knew to come to me. Yay. Okay. I wrote down a couple of bullet points to ask you about. So I'm glad you mentioned with Palomar that improvement at Gruel, how we're bringing it down to because right now, like you said, you kind of go up and a table. And since I already mentioned the videos of idiots in cars, I'm just surprised somebody has not gone at 2 a.m, set up cameras and just 80 miles an hour and see how far they can fly. Because I've seen that on these videos, but. So there's a telephone pole across from Montague Brothers. I guess that's going to be, is that whole thing going to be realigned too?
On
On
the east side where the bus bay is?
Yeah. How's that between that one and the park and the curb and gutter in front of the tamale shop?
Yeah, so I think it showed up in one of the photos where there's basically a pole interrupting the bus bay. So that will be relocated. I think we're working through. There may be an easement issue that Edison needs to secure an easement on the adjacent property to remove that pole. But that will be removed and the bus bay will be completed. Right. So that'll be moved out of the way.
I mean, that's what it looked like, but I thought I'd ask you.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. I know you were talking about one of the parks about the NEPA and CEQA and how if you've got federal money, you've got to go to their standards also. And what's interesting, so today at RCTC, there was a similar thing. That's why I had heard that just a couple hours ago about if you're getting a federal grant, you've got to go through their process, which is fine. But I think, isn't CEQA the one that's generally more difficult, I think, is the story. I mean, if something's going to overlap, and I know people have been talking about this since the day they realized, oh, shoot, there's two different ones. But it would really be great if somehow the higher-ups heard that, thought, okay, you're doing this project, you only need to do one, and if one has a couple extra boxes, take care of those. But instead, it's like we have to do both, right?
Yes and no. So yes, we do have to do both, but oftentimes, like you mentioned, the CEQA is more stringent. And then there are just a couple extra boxes that we have to check for NEPA. And so thankfully, the work that we do for CEQA can be repurposed. One thing we did do on the 20-acre park is knowing that in advance we were planning to apply for a federal grant, we went ahead and got a head start on the NEPA work.
Good.
In the event we did get a grant for that park.
Sure. So then you didn't mention in this report that I heard, but on the further south on Palomar, where we're finishing up, where the new traffic signal is at Frederick, McVicker. And so I remember one of the residents had mentioned something like, hey, there's this issue where there's no walking on that, I guess that'd be the east side of Palomar there. So is there any updates on when that would be finished?
I don't have an exact schedule. We're working with the developer because there's some drainage issues with that area, and so we're trying to resolve that so that they can finish cleaning that up. So I don't have an updated schedule yet on that.
Because I know that one time, several months ago with WBV, we were out there just after rain. It's like, oh, it's pooling water in a brand new area. That's probably not something we are happy about. So that's that one. So yeah, with the new signal or the access at Sellers, right, to be able to leave the shell.
Yes.
Which is great because for the longest time there was the illegal left-hand turns and that was dangerous. And then I know that we have a center median for a while now. But so that is good news for people who use that area, that there's a way out now safely without having to worry about some U-turns or whatever. And then so the restriping on Wildomar Trail, you're saying that because 8 months from now would be before next summer, right? So late spring next year, it could possibly be finished. We got the hoops
correct.
and whatnot. Because that's actually a pretty good, that's not too bad knowing the timelines that we otherwise could face. And I will say that sometimes people will use that area, the locals, the regulars know, okay, well, I'm going to use the northbound freeway, so I'm going to squeeze over onto the line, make room for people going to take the southbound. And I thought somebody was making room for me the other day. So, hey, if you're out there watching, I apologize for being a jerk and coming underneath. I thought you were, making room. So, anyway, thanks. That's all.
Thank you. I love all the updates, so thank you, because we get questions. I'm still being asked, why isn't McDonald's and Starbucks being opened? And so I love all the updates. The RTA bus shelter that's going to be north of Grewell now, the bus pad, well, I was going to ask, are we coordinating with RTA to have a bus shelter there? Because it will be paved to Grewell.
Yes.
Sidewalk.
So we will, so there will be the trail will go all the way to Grewell. And then north of Grewell, trying to remember off the top of my head, there may be a DG trail to connect to the bus bay. So there will be a walkable path. I don't recall off the top if
So that RTA won't put in a shelter unless it's paved, actual sidewalk from, it has to be to the next street, the next intersection.
Okay, I can make a note and look into that and follow up.
Okay. And then the Camellia project, they're putting that signal in, right? Because I remember.
Yes, so they'll be realigning Washington to connect to the New Jefferson alignment, and it'll be a three-way traffic signal.
Like a Y?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And then Sutco Boulevard, did we have an update on that one? Did you say that one?
On the street improvements?
On the actual Sutco Boulevard grant?
Yeah, so we're,
Consent calendar. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
no, I think it's a different project. I think you're referring to the actual, the roundabouts and the median on Sedco Boulevard?
You're right, there's
Yes.
sidewalks, the lights.
Yes, that one's separate than the one on consent. That item, so we're working on a design RFP to get a designer on board to design that project. Part of it will also include a Riverside County Flood Control Master Storm Drain line within that segment, so we're coordinating with flood control. And then we've been also coordinating with the Bell Ranch developer to make sure that the sewer alignment is consistent with what we need for the street improvements.
Okay, because I think it's important that, hopefully if it lines up at all, because it'll be important, if they're walking down from Bell Ranch to get to Mission Trail to catch the bus, they're going to love the sidewalks to have there and the lighting.
Yeah, so our Sedco project will likely be in construction maybe in the 27 or 28 calendar year. So it's possible that Bell Ranch will have occupancy before then, but eventually there will be sidewalk and bike lanes on Sedco.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Carlos? No, just want to say you're very busy, a lot going on, and appreciate all that you do. And then just want to see, Jason and Cameron also gave a presentation yesterday at Coffee with the City, and we appreciate that. It was well received, excellent. As Bridget said, we get a lot of questions, and Bridget's been waiting on the edge of her seat for this update. I'm like, it's coming, Bridget, it's coming. And so we appreciate all of that. And then just wanted, my neighborhood is particularly impacted by the Clinton Keith and Elizabeth intersection, and I'm really grateful that you adjusted, well, the city adjusted the turn lanes there so that we have better visibility. It was, if you don't know, when two cars were in their respective lanes making left-hand turns, we couldn't see oncoming traffic. The lanes were adjusted so we can now see traffic as it comes in, more safely make those left turns. And so it's made a huge difference in the stress levels of that area. And then, I just want to say, as far as the maintenance crew, I'm doing a great job hearing good things, positive remarks about how good everything's looking. So commend you and your staff for all that you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So with that, we go to public comments. Wait.